Hello, everybody. My name is Thea, Fotia, and welcome to Ace Attorney Investigations Collection. Hi, Natalia. Be a good girl while I record, okay? You get the pets. Yay. You gotta make sure the game's recording. This gallery thing looks cool. I'm not gonna play any of these for you guys. I just want to look. Wait, there's... Oh, two and then orchestral. I'll probably be listening to them off stream. Prosecutor's Gambit. New game. HD sprite. Start from this episode, yes. Natalia, get down from there. Get down. Everything old is new. Hmm? To make sure the defendant is found guilty, what other choice do I have? That's the job of a prosecutor, after all. Th that may be true, but why? Why go this far? Sorry, maybe I wasn't clear enough. But a guilty verdict is all that matters to me. No matter what the cost. I'm a prodigy among prosecutors. Always have been, always will be. March 14th, 2:05 a.m. Prosecutor's Building, 12th hallway floor. It's hard to believe that I've been away from my office for a whole month. I hope Detective Gumshoe has been keeping an eye on my office and keeping it clean. The door is unlocked. Detective Gumshoe? What's the smell? It's very familiar. Blood? What the? What's the meaning of this? Freeze! Identify yourself. Shut up. Humph. You got some nerve committing murder in a prosecutor's office. Is that a threat? Let me make one thing very clear. What? No one gets away with committing murder in my office. No one. My name is Miles Edgeworth, and I work as a prosecutor in my local district. Little did I know that upon my return after a month abroad, I would be thrusted into a multitude of cases in some very frantic and busy days. March 14th, 256. High Prosecutor's Room, room 1202. I finished photographing the victim's body, sir. Very well. Please continue your investigation. Yes, sir. Ah, Mr. Edgeworth, sir, are you okay? Sir? Keep it down, detective. This is a crime scene. When I heard that a murder had taken place in your office, I ran up here straight away. Gumshoe's a awesome person. This is Detective Dick Gumshoe. He is a detective with the local precinct. And the only one they assigned to handle this murder case for the time being. You're looking a little pale, sir. Are you hurt? No, I'm perfectly fine. However, look at what they did to your office. It's totally trashed. I'll say, the culprit sullied my floor with dirt rather well. No one gets away with tracking mud into my office. If that's a wallet, that should let us know what the victim is. If that's the victim's wallet. They were over by the teapot. Were they having tea? Well, sounds like you're getting really burned up over this whole thing. This crime was committed in my office, so it is my responsibility to solve. Uh-huh, that's just like you, Mr. Edgeworth. Okay, time to do some investigating. Agreed. Our first course of action is to gather relevant facts and leads. We must not overlook anything, no matter how small, if we are to find the truth. So I'll keep any leads or information we find etched in the forefront of my mind. Speaking of things that piqued my curiosity, why of all places did the murder occur in my office? I get the nagging feeling that this is something more important to keep in mind. I was wondering that myself, sir. I mean, you can't really say it's just a coincidence, can you? No, not really. Especially because of this. The key to your office? What do you mean, sir? If you think about it carefully and use logic, it should become clear to you. Logic? By finding the connection between two pieces of information and connecting them, new information is born. So how do you use it? First, I recall the information we've gathered with L, and then I connect them together with X. That's very useful, actually. Now to use L to recall the facts. For security reasons, all prosecutors' doors are outfitted with locks. Which means it would have been hard for the murderer and the victim to get in here. Ergo, it's impossible to dismiss the location of this crime as a mere coincidence. Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking, sir. Who else has keys to these offices, is what I'm wondering. There must be a reason why someone infiltrated my room. What was the killer after? You're really on the ball today, Mr. Edgeworth. That's some beautiful logic, sir. Yes, well, when you follow leads to their conclusion, only the truth remains. However, if the information doesn't line up properly, I may stray far from the truth as well. But if I think carefully before piecing leads together, the logic should flow. Let's get started with our investigation, shall we? Yes, sir. The basis of any good investigation is to examine everything, sir. Natalia, look at me. You're a good pup. I know that, and when I went to examine something, I simply use A when I'm next to it. Oh, if you ever feel lost and want to talk, just use X, okay? I'll give you great, precise advice on as an ace investigator, sir. Something to try later if I have free time, I suppose. You even knocked over your chess set. I had it all set up and ready for when you got back. I figured we could play a few games. I had no idea you were interested in chess. I'm actually pretty good at checkers, so I thought I'd give chess a try. In that case, I suppose I can set some time aside after we solve the case. But I don't expect the games to tax my mental acuity much. The murder weapon's right here. Could this perhaps be the murder weapon? If so, it would mean that the killer made their escape after disposing of their gun here. I think I've seen one of these before. Can you care to enlighten me as to where? Oh, I know. I was issued the exact same model, I think. Detective? I don't really like guns all that much. I mean, they're really dangerous. Now I think about it, you do see this model around the precinct a lot, sir. But I don't use mine much except in emergencies. That's why I didn't recognize it. So it's the same type of revolver as ones used by the precinct's detectives. Meaning a detective might be the murderer, or someone a detective knows. They finished photographing the body, so it should be alright to examine this area. Won't rest until I've inspected everything. Gum? No! Behind the body there's something else. The rest of the files won't be able to stand an earthquake at all. G-U-M-S. Let's see here. There's blood all over his lower abdomen. Looks like the bullet passed clean through his stomach area, sir. In other words, he was shot. Yep, and until the autopsy's done, I don't think we'll get much more than that. Please have the body sent to the morgue once they're done processing the crime scene. Are you going to be okay with keeping track of the evidence we find, sir? Of course. This is the safest way I know to keep track of it all. Alright, if you say so. Keep track of all the evidence, either in or with my organizer. When I want to re-examine, I just have to press live. But the organizer isn't only for evidence. I keep people's profiles on and I'm in it too. It's probably a good idea to make a habit of checking the facts often. Proof of my profession. Alright, I prefer to keep it in my pocket. Unknown. He looks like a detective. In training, at least. What do we have here? Hey, I think I've seen one of these before. It's a police badge, detective. Oh, hey, I had the exact same thing actually. What a coincidence. Let's take a look inside. Buddy Faith, detective. Number 119396-4. That might be useful. It would appear that our victim was a detective, just like you. I seem to have gathered a few pieces of pertinent information. Now to calmly use some logic and figure out why, but if any of them are connected. The files are all over the floor, sir. They probably fell during the struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, they tried so hard to keep this place spotless while you were away. I mean, this just rendered all the time and effort I put in pointless. I don't recall ever asking you to clean my room. Well, I watered the flowers every day, just like you requested, sir. I decided cleaning to the list as a weekend special. For about half a day every Saturday, I'd come in and clean this place until it sparkled. Does he even have a life? Watch out for the teacup fragments there, sir. That killer is going to pay this tea set. Felix, you're really mad over this. This tea set is very dear to my heart. It can only be bought in England. It costs more than your whole month's paycheck. But what? Now I feel like the killer has wasted one of my month's paychecks. It's been a while since I sat at this desk. Oh, how I've missed you. It's so tidy that it looks newer than when I first bought it. Oh, yeah, that's the thing so polished that it makes mirrors jealous. Don't tell me you had no other work the entire time I was away, detective. My job is protect your office, sir. And you did such a good job protecting it that a murder occurred in it. That's harsh, sir. I have to admit the desk has never looked better, so I guess I can't dock his pay. Oh, it's your trophy. The, Knights of Prosecutors, right? King of Prosecutors, and it's not a trophy, it's a shield. They only send this to the wedding prosecutor, right? Yes, but I have no real interest in the perceived worth of other people. As for my own worth, that is something only I can determine for myself. That's so slick, sir. I'm gonna have to try saying that sometime. Unfortunately for him, his monetary worth is tied directly to his worth to me. I want to... I want to check where the handprints are. Looks like the game doesn't want me to look at that. Well, it's a good thing that my Steel Samurai doll was spared any harm. Speaking of which, I still haven't actually sat down and watched any of that show. What's it about again? I don't know how much about it myself, but The hero of the Steel Samurai, warrior of Neo-Old Tokyo, is the Steel Samurai, and his goal is to defeat the evil magistrate. It's a show geared towards kids. However, its high production values and riveting plot draw in a number of adults as well. Spin-offs like Pink Princess, Warrior of Little Old Tokyo, and The Nickel Samurai, along with the deluge of merchandise and even a new stage show, gives it presence. You sure know a lot. Are you sure you're not some sort of rabid fanboy? Of course not. Anyone that keeps up with society knows at least this much. And that conversation lasted longer than expected. Let us return to the investigation. Is this yet another batch of fresh flowers? The ones that come with the card attached every month like clockwork for you, yep. Speaking of that, let's see what's on the card this month, sir. All will be resolved. Wendy. Huh? Oh, Miss Irony. How painful are thy thorns. Wendy, isn't that the name of that old lady with the whiny voice that's stock? That's enough, detective. You do not need to remind me any further. I hope we can solve this case quickly. I'd like to return to relaxing on this sofa. That thing looks a billion times softer than my mattress at home. Can I sit on it too, just for a little while, sir? Detective Gumshoe? You know I can't allow that. Till this case is solved, neither of us have time to spare, let alone rest. You're right, sir. I'm gonna work hard and be a real trooper to the end. Even once this case is over, I don't think you can afford to take any time off. Do you have anything to report? Sir, yes, sir. Nothing out of the ordinary right now, sir. And yet there's something out of the ordinary right in front of my eyes. Talk about a contradiction. Something out of the ordinary, huh? I should look around a bit more. How's it coming along? Please, I need absolute silence. Fingerprint lifting is a delicate art. Well, I never. You called, sir? Notice anything? That you'd like to deter, detective? Just I rushed here as soon as I heard there was a murder in the office, sir. The investigation just got started, so I guess there's not much left else to say. So, were you the one that found the body, Mr. Edwards? Fortunately, upon my return, I found my office door to be unlocked, and what awaited me inside was this whole messy affair. Ouch, that's rough. Even though I left the security of this room to a certain detective. Sorry, sir. You're not gonna say anything good? I assume you understand how to conduct investigations, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, sir. Examine anything and everything with A. We're checking various things out, then gather all sorts of evidence and information. Exceed the evidence we've collected with R. For information and leads, it's L. That's great. Good job, sir. Deductive reasonable is the way to go. It's called deductive reasoning, detective. Clearly something you lack. I seem to have picked up a few good leads. Oh? So now you're going to do the thing you do with all that information, right? What are you babbling about? The brainy thing you were talking about just a few moments ago. Sir? Logic? You said that you can look at all of your leads and info by pressing L. Then you pick the ones that seem related with A and connect them with X. That's your way of investigating, right, sir? Yes, which is Which is why this exercise in explaining my own method to me was unnecessary. Okay, then how about I explain my logic to you next time? That is even more unnecessary. Whoops. The revolver, the standard model issued by detectives. Could it have belonged to our recently departed? Detective Gumshoe, could you please thoroughly check the victim's body once more? Yes, sir. On it now, sir. Excuse me, pal. Let's see. What have we got here? Mr. Edward, sir. This guy is wearing a gun holster. So it appears that our killer somehow managed to take the victim's gun from him. Victim's revolver data jolted down. Let's see what else we can find out about this revolver. There's a horse on it. Weird. No, this isn't a murder weapon, then. Jim! Why? Oh my. How could this have happened to a guy like you? Are you alright? Don't touch me. Leave me alone. Just let me be. Sorry, but I can't do that. The investigation is still undergoing, so please refrain from touching the body. The body. The body? Don't talk about him like he's just some lump of flesh. Look at him. Jim looks like he just turned in for the night. Sure. Just in a bloodstained suit, pal. Where are my manners? Aren't you that prosecutor? Why, yes, I am. I'm Jasquez Sportsman Prosecutor. Jim here is my partner in crime busting. I'm Miles Edgeworth, and like you, I am also a prosecutor. Detective Dick Gumshoe, sir. So you're Miles Edgeworth. I guess this is your office. Yes, that is correct. Then it was you. You're the one who killed Jim. Hey, don't go around jumping to conclusions, pal. Just calm down, okay? I will not. I know how things work around here. High prosecutors' office doors all have locks built into them. And only the owner of the office has the key to his or her own office door. That is correct. However, I was not the one who killed your partner. Yeah, Mr. Edwards has been overseas on a business trip this whole time, pal. And the key to the door was with me the entire time, okay? So the only one who could get in here was me. Ho 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 ho. Wait, that means... I'm not sure what that means. So it's you then. You're Jim's killer. No way, pal. You've got it all wrong. Everyone calm down. Mr. Portsman. Correct. If you're a real prosecutor, you should know how to stay collected. The investigation has only just begun. Isn't it too early to be drawing conclusions? Alright, I get the point. You're right, my mistake. I tend to get a little hot-headed sometimes. You sure are one cool customer though, Mr. Edgeworth. I've heard all the rumors about you. You're the great genius prosecutor. You're something of a legend, you know? Anyway, let's call a truce and work together, okay? Now, how about a handshake to seal the deal? A pleasure to work with you. You guys were conducting your investigation, right? Sorry for barging in like that. Carry on, then. It's your room, after all. Thank you. I intend to. I just want a little more to say... Time to say goodbye to Jim. You there, sir? I want you to capture this scene on film for me. My final farewell to my partner, Jim. I should probably give them some space. That's definitely not what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this. Ah, your jacket, sir. What's it doing on the floor? It must have fallen off the wall when the killer tried to threaten me by firing around. But they shot your jacket as well? They dared to shoot the ultra-special jacket that your prosecutorial debut made your prosecutorial debut in? What if they had shot through it? It would have been a disaster. That's not worth getting worked up over. Detective, not when there's something more here. Huh? Like what? I take it you haven't noticed it yet, Detective? There's a giant contradiction right in front of us. Really? Did I say contradiction? He must be rubbing off on me. I'm starting to sound like him. But I have my own methods and I'll conduct this investigation in my way. When the scene before me contradicts a piece of evidence or seems off, that's when my deductive skills come into play. I know where the thing is. That's it. The bullet hole is where the contradiction lies. When I spot something that's off, I should point at it and hit X to deduce. And when I have found sufficient proof to prove the contradiction, I present what it is. This is how I do things. It can't be the moon. Eureka? Okay. I didn't know that would be what he says. This bullet hole is the contradiction. But what do you mean, sir? It's elementary. 2 shots were fired in this room. The first felled the victim. And the second felled this frame. Hey, that's right. However, this gun was only fired once. Hey, that's true too. Which means that one of these 2 bullets was fired from a different gun. Did the killer have another gun prepared for tonight? Fuck. I know what this means. Give me a moment. Back. By the way, I noticed something, sir. Yes? What's that thing sticking out from behind the frame? Ah, it's a secret safe. A secret safe? Who has more money? I'll spare us the trouble and just say it. Nothing like what you're imagining is inside. Now if you could kindly move the frame out of the way. Roger that. Suppose that's what happens when I'm not here to dust it once in a while. I had no idea there was a safe here. I'd have kept it properly clean. So when did you put this thing in? It wasn't something I had installed personally. Every prosecutor's office has one. Really, I had no idea. And only prosecutors are supposed to have knowledge of their existence. So what's inside, Mr. Edgeworth? Right now, nothing. We only use it to store especially important evidence when a trial is in session. That's it. Talk about squashing my hopes and dreams. That's strange. Now that's odd. The keypad, don't you find it a bit too clean? Yeah, there's a thick layer of dust all around it, but not on the keypad itself. You there, the forensic scientist. Yes, sir? Could you please dust this area for fingerprints? You got it, sir. I couldn't find, let alone lift a single print. Looks like it was wiped down well. As I thought, it appears that logic is the only way around this setback. Time to rationally and calmly connect the dots with the information we have. I never knew there was a safe hidden back here. Well, if detectives knew about them, then they wouldn't be secret now, would they? Are there any other secret hidden things in this room? Even if there were, it would defeat the purpose of them being hidden if I would told you. So don't bother looking for them. So there's no, like, hidden camera around, right? And what if there was? No. It's nothing. Forget I said anything. Do I even want to ask what he's been doing in my office while I've been away? Being the forensic scientist couldn't lift a single fingerprint, sir. Yet the keypad was wiped down carefully. Perhaps I should take a good look at the information we've collected so far. Could the killer's goal have been this? I believe I'd figured out what the murderer was after. Oh, what is it, sir? The fact that the safe was wiped clean of fingerprints suggests that the criminal had at least attempted to open my safe, making the culprit's motive for breaking and entering theft, I believe. I wonder if knowing that the motive behind the break-in was theft changes what the other pieces of information can tell me about this crime. Signs of a struggle and theft. There is a possibility that the files splayed on the floor are not the result of a struggle between the victim and his killer. Oh, you mean like it could be from when the killer tried to find something, sir? Precisely. We need to figure out if any of the files have been stolen. Yes, sir. I'm gonna shelf files like you've never seen before. Sure, let's give that a try. Why do all the good ones always die young? Surely you must ponder that every once in a while, Mr. Edgeworth. No matter how much we lament, the dead will not come back to life. All we can do now is search for the truth. And so what are we supposed to do? How do we go about finding the truth? Firstly, we calmly restore the files to their rightful place. You got it. Here, let me help. So this file goes here, and that book goes there. You sure know a lot about where things go, despite being Mr. Edgeworth's office, because I'm the one who keeps it tidy, pal. Okay, done. It would appear that the murder was definitely committed here. Weird. The bloodstains on the bookshelf are still fresh. Then the guy found the floor, right? The blood on the floor is kind of grossing me out. The detective, I don't have the time to deal with your weak stomach right now. But you know I'm not good with... I'm no good with blood, sir. I'm certain there's something wrong with this picture. First things first, where these handprints, the victim's handprints. He must have tried to support himself with his hands after being shot. No. That can't be the reason. Because if he was trying to support himself, then why is the bullet hole down here? So this is where the bullet lodged itself after it went through the victim, huh? For the bullet to be lodged so squarely in a file spine indicates that the files are ransacked after the shooting had occurred. Then I guess the victim was moved because he was in the killer's way. It appears that the victim was in a sitting position here after being shot. So that's why the seat of the victim's pants has blood on it. That would be the logical conclusion. The killer moved the body because he was leaning against the bookshelf. The blood on this guy's pants proves that pretty well. In a sense, I suppose. See, I'm not completely useless, Mr. Edward. I put them all back just the way they should be, sir. Doesn't look like nothing's missing. Although it does look like the killer moved the body to flip through my shelves. I wonder if they found what they were looking for. No. If he was in a sitting position... I think it's the bullet hole. And the victim. You don't see it? Quite simply, the bullet hole itself is too low. If the victim was shot in the stomach, the hole should be much higher up. But what if the guy was shot while he was sitting or laying down, sir? That would be illogical. The victim leaned against the shelf after being shot, which suggests that he was standing when he was shot. And that means... Wait, what does that mean? It means you need to use your brain every once in a while instead of mine, detective. In any case, it means someone made a faulty assumption, and it was from this mistake that our current contradiction was born. What's the faulty assumption that the problem with the bullet hole's position? The order of the files. You mean I put them back in the wrong order just now? Hey, actually I think the labels on the files are wrong. Think so? Oh? Yeah. You see how the files that were being shot through begin with the number 0? What are those doing all the way down at the bottom? Down there after 1, 2, and 3. That's really weird. Actually, the way they're organized now is the correct order. They're exactly as I see them in my mind's eye. 1, 2, 3, 0. But the numbers all are out of order. Those white binders are special, so they are arranged a little differently. But from this, we know that the files were not in this order when the crime occurred. Aha. So that's it. I believe the killer made the same incorrect assumption as you just did, detective. Let's rearrange the files in numerical order and see what we find out. If you do that, it'd be okay to prop the body back up to how it was before it was moved. They've finished processing the crime scene, so I don't see why they wouldn't be. So please, Detective Gumshoe. As I expected, the bullet hole is now where it should be, logically. The killer went through my files first before shooting Mr. Faith. And then put the files back in the numerical order, I guess. Exactly. And then proceeded to shoot the victim. But why would someone kill a man and then look through your files one more time? Puzzling indeed. The files were thrown into disarray twice, once before and once after the crime. But why? Gumshoe. There's a letter missing here. This? What is this? Why does it say Gumshoe on there in blood? I'd say that's some incredibly incriminating evidence, yes. Indicative of criminal activity indeed. No wait, there's gotta be some mistake. Mr. Edwards, sir, help me. Say something, sir. It appears that one of my files was stolen. Is that all, sir? What about me and my situation? Is this what the killer was really after? Looks like Jim was able to leave us the name of his killer in the end. And the most important message managed to reach us. I'm telling you, it wasn't me. You can't be terribly pleased to hear your own blood partner is the guilty party. If you are going to accuse Detective Gumshoe of being the culprit, I sincerely hope you have some proof to back it up. Jim's words, they're more than enough, wouldn't you say? If that's how you want to play it, then at least allow me to understand your reasoning. You got it? I don't like this one bit. There's something strange about this man's attitude. And there must be some flaw of his logic waiting for me to dig out. Mr. Edwards, what are you going to do? What I always do in court. I'm going to cross-examine him. One way or another, I'll expose the flaw in his logic with this technique. Oh, how do you do that? Can you explain it to me, sir? Might as well. Alright, first, I listen to the witness's testimony. If I find a flaw in the testimony, something that contradicts the evidence, I open my organizer with R and press present the piece of contradicting evidence. To present something, I simply use X, but that's old news. But it's not like there's going to be a flaw in their testimony every time, right? Correct, and at those times I need to press the witness with the L. Sometimes by pressing I can draw out new information and new or modified testimony. I think I get it, sir. I'll be sure to try this technique out during investigations too. Very well. I'll even show you how it's done. Now watch carefully. Mr. Portsman's logic. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead. Furthermore, you messed up the files to make it look like you had committed theft instead. And that's when you moved Jim's body that was sitting in front of the bookshelf. But thanks to that, you didn't notice the bloody letters his body was hiding. And it will be by his final words that you will be brought to justice. You intend to argue that the victim's dying message points to his killer. I can hear Jim's voice and he's calling for his killer's arrest. Are you sure you're not mishearing his words, Mr. Portsman? Yeah, there's no way. I will find the flaw in this man's logic and expose it with credible evidence. Detective Gumshoe, you stole Jim's gun from him and shot him dead.
Hold it!
You know, there's something I've been meaning to ask. What is it? Why do you call the victim Jim, when clearly his name is Buddy Faith? Isn't it obvious? Jim is the perfect name for my companion. Jackie's and Jim. Don't those two names go together like peanut butter and jelly? You're okay, baby. But Jim isn't even close to the guy's real name. Well, Jackie's and Buddy just sounds off somehow. Besides, he was the third of a bunch of guys that decided to nickname Jim. He talks about the victim like he was his pet. There's already evidence that shows that, Okay, never mind. Hmm. Hmm.
Hold it!
Hmm. Do you really think it was necessary to shovel my shelves twice to do that? That's true. Okay, then maybe his real intention was theft. Are you accusing me of stealing something from Mr. Edgeworth? It's a possibility. Maybe your salary's been cut so much that your life's getting a little too rough to handle. I'll have you know that I can eat 3 square meals a day. Those every day, pal. Okay, so all 3 of them happen to be instant noodles, but poor thing. What an evil prosecutor you're paired up with. And what a motive, no?
Hold it!
And why would Detective Gumshoe do such a thing? Because the body was getting in his way. He had to mess up your bookshelf somehow, right? Anyway, thanks to that you didn't notice the bloody letters.
Hold it!
Why do you think the killer didn't notice the bloody letters? The body was covering it quite well, wouldn't you say? That's how he missed it. But judging by what I've seen, it doesn't take much for your detective to miss something. Who do you think you are? You know nothing about me, pal. There's a lot a person can understand about another from first impressions alone. Can't say I disagree with him on that point. But why don't you say something, sir? Not you too, Mr. Edgeworth? Despite his lack of attention to detail, I don't believe Detective would be the culprit. He's too dumb. Couldn't ask for a better setup for the game-finishing spike. Where the body is. I believe it's this. I'll take the damage if it's not. And what part do you have an objection to? Yes, well, you're not so good when you're all flustered. The detective's right, for a change. Well, I guess we could save. Let's present this.
Objection!
Objection! Perhaps you're not aware, Mr. Porson, but there's a serious flaw in your logic. Heh, bringing a bit of the courtroom into this, I see. No problem, I'm game. I can't help but find it odd. Excuse me? Odd that a fellow prosecutor be brought down by the power of his own office. What are you talking about? Oh, you're joking, I get it. If you have the time to laugh, then you have the time to take another closer look at this. Do you still not see? If not, may I direct your attention to the missing file? What? That's impossible. That's what's impossible, Mr. Portsman. Nothing. The files on the shelf are all about a certain case. When the killer went to take the file after murdering your partner, I highly doubt they could have missed the bloody letters written on the spines.
Objection!
It's possible they could have taken the file before committing the murder. I think it's pretty obvious that the file was stolen after it was written on. The missing letters in the detective's name and where the file should be is proof. Yeah, I mean, the S is gone and there's only half an H. If Detective Gumshoe was really the culprit of this case, I highly doubt that even he could overlook his name written in blood on the files, especially a detective who can't stand the sight of blood. Which means, what exactly? What does that make this dying message? It makes it the work of a criminal intent on tampering with the crime scene. That's so low, I can't believe the criminal tried to pin this whole thing on me. Yes, sir. I'm gonna get him, sir. You'll see. I'll have them under arrest in no time. I love you, Natalia. Well, Mr. Portsman? Brilliant. Absolutely splendid. Logic deserving of Olympic golds. I appreciate the praise, but it doesn't change the fact that your reasoning is flawed. Meh. You win some, and you lose some. That's how life goes. Glad everyone's so cheery, even though I feel more dead than alive. But you know, it really is a shame. I really didn't want to have to bring this up, however. What is it this time? Are you still after me, pal? Humor me for a second. Who has the key to this office? That would be me. But Mr. Edwards just proved that I'm innocent, pal. Did he now? That's absolutely right, and I acknowledge your innocence. Then why do I sense that you still have something to say? Well, I was thinking, did you know there's one other person with a key to this office? One other person? Hey, you there? Yes, sir. What is it, sir? Would you kindly fetch and escort that lovely young lady here for me? A lady? That girl is a member of this building's security. Think of her as a material witness. Security? Did you say security? No, stop it, pal. Don't. What's wrong with him all of a sudden? I believe she needs no introduction. I have called upon Miss Maggie Bride, a member of security. Detective Gumshoe, sir? Maggie? Miss Bride is a security guard on watch tonight. I see, and your point is? My point is that she could very well have used it. And by it, I mean the master key which can open all the office doors in this building. What? If you are not the guilty party, Detective Gumshoe, then the only other person with access to this room is Miss Bride. How dare you? I would never sneak into someone's room. That's right, I refuse to believe that Maggie's the culprit, pal. It was me, that's right, I did it. Can we take that as a confession, Detective? Well, it wasn't really me, but it definitely wasn't Maggie, pal. So yeah, it was me. If it was, you'd have no problems with that, right? Please refrain from flying off the handle, Detective. There's no need for such theatrics. I love you, Natalia. You're adorable. Listen to your boss, Detective. He understands what I'm saying here. That girl is the only one who could have committed the crime. And for one simple reason. Reason for suspicion? It's pretty obvious that Miss Bride snuck into your room using the master key. Let's get through this first. I mean, if Detective Gumshoe isn't the one who opened the door, then that only leaves Miss Bride as our prime subject. On top of which, she knows our good detective, doesn't she? Making it all the more probable that she was the one who faked the dying message. So you're saying she used the master key? Incredibly incriminating evidence, wouldn't you say? That's what you claimed about the evidence earlier as well. That was then, this is now. The flow of a good match always changes during a rally. It's all about your reflexes and reaction time. Especially for an athlete like me. I wonder if there's anyone else other than Miss Bride who could have used the master key. It seems that the only way to get Mr. Portsman to give me more details is to press him. Anyway, let's press plus and save. Thank you everybody for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day. If you liked the video, please like it. Leave a comment if you have a comment about this. And if you could, please subscribe. Bye.